This
Is
is
this
the
the first time
Yes.
that you haven't been live?
Yes.
Oh, we're not live because there was a storm in Arizona and there's no power.
And there's actually weather in Arizona.
Right.
Wild.
You know, weather means anything bad or good, right? We're just always good. So today we have weather.
I was driving over here. It was 107 in my car. And like, I looked down and I'm like, why is it getting cooler? What's happening? And then all of a sudden, there was just full on rain, not a cloud in the sky.
Wow, yeah, it came out of nowhere today for sure. It wasn't in the forecast.
Well, we're sorry we're not live, guys, but we are still going to bring you a great episode of Title Talk. We are sitting in Jamil's house, and if you haven't noticed, I'm not Jamil, she's not Jamil.
No Jamil, he's out and about today. Where's he?
I
Oh,
think
he's-
on vacation or
No,
something.
he's about to start Burning Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And burn
Jamil,
the
if you
man.
can hear us, well, you can't hear us now because we're not live, but we love you and we
Yes.
want you to be safe
And have fun.
and have the best time and come back and tell us everything that you can remember.
Take notes because you'll probably forget some things.
Oh, 100% you're going to forget some things.
But we're sitting in his house and we have no power.
No
So that's
power.
why we're not live, guys.
It's super hot because there's no AC. There's no food, but that has nothing to do with the power. It's because we're in Jamil's house and there's never anything to eat.
And if you hear weird noises in the background, it's either a combination of the puppies or the weather.
Yeah, there's like big, and sirens, constant sirens, because I don't know what's going on out there, but
I hope everybody's safe.
it's like a really bad movie.
But I'm in a good movie with you today.
I feel that way too because I am so excited about this communal living, especially on a day like today where you have to ask yourself, where are the people that are living in? How are the people that are living in their cars right now dealing with the fact that we are in a thunderstorm outside? Like, how does that
Or
feel?
the people that are living in the streets.
Yeah.
I mean, I was seeing some people at the freeway overpass when I was getting off on 44th. I'm like, they're trying to get shelter.
Yeah, yeah. How do you manage that?
I can't even imagine.
No, I can't either.
It's not easy.
We are about to house our 29th person in communal living. One step at a time, right? One house, which we basically start one house every 3 weeks. It takes us 2 months to finish the house. So we're on a cycle right now. We're trying to ramp up to be able to start one every week because the need is just so strong.
It is very strong.
Yeah.
What's the biggest problem with changing a timeline like that? Is it finding the right property? Is it construction? Is it money? What's the...
I mean, it's probably a combination of all three. You need to, location, right? That's the rule of real estate. And it's
Number one.
especially the number one rule of communal living because if you purchase your property in an area where you would like to live, it might not be the area that is best conducive to communal living. Communal living really works where there's, a straight shot via public transit to take you to work centers, whether that be Walmarts or UPS or Amazon warehouses, whatever it is.
Yeah, because these folks that are living in the communal living homes, they have jobs. I mean, they have decent jobs.
Yeah, and that salary is anywhere between $18 and $24 an hour. And that's generally when I take in a tenant in my communal living houses, I always ask them, so what do you make? And it's usually between $18 and $24 an
How
hour.
much was the first paying job you can remember that you had?
Oh, I know exactly. It was a paper route with my brother. I think we made $60 for the whole summer. I bought a skirt and a bottle of Benetton perfume. He bought a Run DMC tape, and he's going to kill me for this, but he also bought Debbie Gibson.
Oh, I remember going to her concerts
Right?
back in the day.
Debbie Gibson was the best.
Yeah.
And that's about all we made. Other than that, my longest job as almost an adult was $7 an hour. That's what I made working in a boutique. You?
Retail, and I was about $6.
Yeah. That was the, so now when I hear $20 an hour, but then when I do the math, it's like, wow, how are you living? $20 an hour.
It's hard. But
Yeah.
this is a solution.
Definitely a good solution. Most of the time when you think of communal living, you're thinking of really short, medium-term living. Like you're thinking maybe they're going to stay a month or 2 months. It's not short-term. It's not like a vacation home. But maybe you're going to stay a month or 2 months. But most of my tenants are asking me if they can sign a 1-year lease.
That's amazing.
They want to protect the property that they live in. And I say to them, absolutely we can, after you've stayed here for 2 weeks.
Because you want to make sure it's still a right fit for the community
Yes.
that's under the roof, right?
Right.
So that's smart. What made you come up with that rule?
I've always sort of done that as a landlord. I always say, go ahead and move in, and then I'll come back, and figure out the lease with you. I especially did that when we were doing more like apartment rentals, because I wanted to make sure that that person was going to work in that community, and it was going to be a good fit. And generally, your gut will tell you which house this person is best suited for. So follow your gut.
So are you then doing like a house visit and checking in with everybody a couple weeks after a new move in?
I check my houses every week.
Personally?
Personally.
You walk in, you just hang out. I mean, do you have to give them notice? Do you have like a
because
scheduled...
I'm in the communal area, and I know most of them are home around 5:30. So I'll come, and I'm either filling. I usually have a chocolate bowl in the kitchen. I'll fill up the chocolate bowl, or make sure that the garbage has been refilled or taken out, and the new bag is in. Little things that I check, and I'm lucky because all my houses are along the I-17 freeway in Phoenix.
I'm sure that was intentional.
Exactly, because it's the perfect neighborhood for this type of, and you'll find it in whatever state you live in. You will find that perfect area. Where were we?
We were making funny faces. I have a feeling we were looking at Bobby like, is there editing involved? Okay, so you've pivoted.
Yes.
Because I feel like we were talking about this 6 months ago, and Jamil was looking at me like nobody in their right mind is going to do this. Maybe it was more than 6 months ago.
It was a year ago.
It was, okay.
It was a
And
year
you
ago.
were on Title Talk just about a year ago, too.
And I said, you're bananas. Somebody's going to try to want to live in a house with 6 virtual strangers, and it's not going to turn into bedlam. And it works. Communal living works. It worked 100 years ago. You think back to rooming houses in the early 1900s, 1910, 1920, 1930. That's how people lived. People came from different countries. They would take a room. They would send money home, right? I mean, people live that way. So it's 100 years later. We're kind of coming full circle. And people have to live this way in order to have a decent place to put their head down.
So you're doing your house check. You feel good about everything, which is fun. And you're going to go down the path of letting them sign a longer term lease, which is amazing. But you do something else that makes this work for them when it comes to how they pay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we set up our own platform so they can pay using their credit card. They can pay using their bank card. They can pay using a blank check. They can walk into 7-Eleven with a QR code, and for $4.95, they can pay their rent at the 7-Eleven cashier.
And they could pay it any time they want.
Yep.
But they just have to make sure that they get their full amount in for the week.
Right.
On a weekly basis.
Right. And generally, people pay on their payday. That's generally when they
So
pay.
Fridays.
Yeah.
So tomorrow.
So tomorrow, we'll get like an influx of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not unhappy with this model at all.
And how are you finding them, or are they finding you yet?
So I put signs up at different corners of intersections where Amazon has its big warehouses.
Okay, this is like Bandit Sign days.
Yeah, 100%.
Which used to be the number one way to do marketing for wholesalers.
Yep, I'm old school, guys. So Bandit Signs, absolutely. We made small flyers that we put up at Amazon workstations, Walmart. We just made friends with people. So when you walk into an Amazon warehouse, you don't really get much further than the security guard. There's a big guy, a security guard guy, and he's like, yeah, no, we can't take your signs. And I say, okay, hang on one second. Can I just talk to you for a second, person to person? These are for housing for your employees. I'm not selling you anything. I'm asking if there's anyone here who needs a place to stay that's decent and clean and warm or cold, whatever they need it to be, where they can put their head down. And he looks at me and says, yeah, I'll take them. Because he gets the fact that, and I'm like, look, they start at $250 a week. He's like, yeah, I got it. I got them. I'll take them. So we're getting our calls from there. We're getting some calls from Bandit Signs, but it's interesting because we're getting calls from single moms. And that's a really
Oh, that's
unprotected, vulnerable class, right?
extremely. I mean, sometimes they're fleeing abusive situations.
Yep.
Sometimes there's a lot of dynamics there.
And I know we say, I can't imagine a kid living in a car, right? Like how heartbreaking
Oh,
is
it's
that?
a reality though for a lot of families.
Yeah. But even like a mom, like how does that make you feel as a mom? That I'm sleeping in my car with my kids and there's nothing I can do, there's nowhere I can go. So over the last 6 days, I fielded like 4 of these calls. And I don't have the facility in the houses that we're doing now that are ready to house people. I don't have the facility for that because you almost need
That's
a
a totally
kitchenette,
different dynamic.
right? You need
Yeah.
a little, like you need a kitchenette. You need it to be sort of like an ADU so that's self-contained. Because how do you mix people in with this mixed group
Well,
of
kids,
strangers,
the dynamic.
right?
I mean,
With
you could have
kids.
kids not getting along. You could have one kid that's a bully. Like that's a totally different.
Exactly. So I met with my two favorite investors today. That's where I'm coming from. I met with them today.
You look great. I mean, it's been raining. You
You
we had
caught me in my-
microburst,
in
all
my-
kinds of things. And look at this beautiful woman.
in my work clothes. This is not me at my best. But I met with them and they had some phenomenal ideas where we are now turning our 7 sevens into 9 9s and offering 4 separate separate kitchenettes available with separate entrance and exit. So now we can actually facilitate somebody who has a service animal or somebody with children because it's a larger suite. It's got its own kitchenette. It's got its own private bath. It's got a window to the backyard, like a big sliding door to the backyard. And then it also has the entrance in from the house. So I feel like as this model is growing,
It's
we're
evolving.
growing with it. We're
That's
evolving
awesome.
with it. I'm really excited about these.
So you went from being like someone who thinks I have 5 heads if I told you that co-living was a thing,
Right.
to now being a believer and a creator of affordable housing through the co-living investment
Right.
space, which also affords you and your investors a lot more return on their money given our landscape today,
Oh,
right?
100%. It's like a 25% return on your money plus the capital appreciation on the house.
And in our market, long-term rentals are really tough. And short-term rentals are really tough. So this is also making everybody more money in the process, but it's solving a problem to now you're saying, okay, we're going to evolve this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing with real estate, right? Is if you're not moving, if you're not growing with it, you're stuck.
Yeah.
And so I say to you, take a nap. When you're stuck, take a nap. Go home, take a nap, wake up, and you'll get a new idea.
Yeah, I always feel like when in doubt, don't.
Right.
Sleep on it. Wait until you have certainty. Wait until your yes feels like you can absolutely say yes, or your no feels like you can have ultimate confidence, and this is a no right now.
Right. Yeah. And trust your instincts and trust those people that you trust in the industry. So when you have friends in the industry and your friends are doing something and it's working for them, ask them questions. I had a call today with a lady that Jamil introduced me to. Sounds like a wonderful lady. Your name is Tiffany. She says, I'm just starting out in wholesaling, but I'm really drawn towards this co-living. I love the way that it works. I want more information. And she booked a call with me, and we were able to talk it out. I think she'll be in Phoenix in 3 weeks, just to see
To
like
come
the
meet
different,
you
yeah,
and-
to see
yeah.
the different phases of how this works and how she can take it to Colorado, which I think is awesome.
So, are you sourcing all of the deals through Keegley? Like, how does that?
Ideally, I would love to always involve Keegley, and Keegley does have several franchises in different states. So, for sure, we would love to bring Keegley on board, but really, where you need the house. So, if you reach out to a local wholesaler, hopefully it's Keegley. If you reach out and say, look, this is the area, I'm drawing this circle, and this is the area that I'm looking for. I need the house to be about 1,600 square feet if it's got a garage, or 2,000 square feet if it doesn't. Your space is 2,000 square feet. That gives you a 7-7 really easily.
And that's with no major additions. It's not
No
with
additions at
converting
all.
a garage. Like,
You're converting a garage, if you have 1,500 plus a garage, you're converting that garage into livable space. But, and some people ask me, well, why don't you do additions? Or why aren't you, utilizing all the space? I don't want to cause any ruffles. I understand that we're the innovators of this. We're starting out, and it takes a moment for cities to come to grips with things that are changing, right? It takes them a minute to say, yeah, this is cool, we like this.
yeah.
And so I don't want to give them a reason. We have setbacks for a reason. If the house is this big, why can't you build right up to your curb? Because there's a setback. Why can't you build right up to your back fence? Because there's a setback. And same with your side fences, there's setbacks. When you're doing additions, now you're violating some of those setbacks. And you're giving the city a reason to say no. So by staying within the confines of the actual property, the actual footprint of that house that was built 50 years ago, that gives you the permission from the city, and we're doing all of these permitted, and I was the queen of unpermitted, and now I'm the queen of permitted. We're doing all of them with the city's permission. They understand what we're building, and we're moving forward. We're actually even incorporating fire suppression now. So we're doing the sprinkler systems.
Do you feel like the way that you're building them, it's almost going towards feeling like the space is more commercially used?
Well, it's still
of some of those,
residential.
yeah,
It's
but
still residential, but I think that the city might come back and say, well, you have like 12 people living in this house, so you need to have fire suppression. So I'm thinking about what might the city say.
proactively.
I'm looking at whatever, because if you want to have an extended care home, right? You need to have that. Anything over 6 people living in the house, you need to have fire suppression. So why wait for them to ask us to do it? Just do it. Just get it. It's 10 grand. Just get it done.
And are you having investors find you to say, do this for me?
I'm a little picky.
As you should be.
On who I work with.
As you should be.
Right. So, yes, investors do ask me. I don't always say yes. But feel free to ask. We get to know each other, and if you feel like I'm a match and I feel like you're a match, then, let's make beautiful music together. But it really depends on our personalities and if we have the same mindset when we're going into a project.
Well, the answer is always no if you don't ask.
Right, right. So ask. I'm sure, Bobby, will you put a link on this? Yeah, there. I don't know what any of that means. I don't know my phone number. Because you could send me links and I'll be like, just put my phone number. Put my phone number in the link. And don't call me if you're single. I'm kidding.
No, you're happily married.
Just call me if you have money. So yeah, I'm super excited. But why I love talking to you is you have these great ideas. Do you think it's possible for us to eventually sell these bedrooms as a cooperative?
I think, in theory, I love it. And I think a lot of it comes down to the financing.
If I find you the bank that will... Look, if the seller's carrying it, then there's no issue.
Correct. Yeah.
The
It's
seller's
seller
the bank.
finance,
Right.
right. But I think it'd be really cool if we could get some traditional financing involved, because then you're really helping these folks establish credit too.
Right.
That to me would be really exceptional, because you're taking people and they're in these situations oftentimes because they don't have credit established, or their credit was shot because of some situation like a divorce or something happened. So
Okay.
if you could help them build legitimate credit because a big bank is saying, yes, we're going to lend on this space for these folks, that would be really special.
So you need to get like Wells Fargo or Chase or one of these bigger institutional banks to say, yeah, we'll be willing to lend on this?
Or an investor that, backs a broker of some sort.
Where they could sell the product to a buyer?
Absolutely.
So you investors with money,
Exactly.
do you want to be a bank and mortgage these out?
Somebody that's watching this is probably thinking, that is a niche.
Somebody that's thinking is like, these ladies are crazy. But look, hear me out. You have 8 bedrooms and 8 bathrooms. So you buy the rights to the bedroom and bathroom. and then everything else is cooperative space, right? So
It's like so when you're looking at zoning, right? So
Right.
you're buying a condo, you own drywall in, or you own sticks in, or
Right.
you own dwelling or air rights. I mean, it's all about this. I mean, it's no different than how condos are financed in the first place.
Right. Right. So we just have to talk. I mean, I think the bigger institutions are going to want to see smaller investors try it and see
And
it
be
succeed-
successful.
Yes.
Just like anything, right?
Right.
I mean, you didn't go in initially and say, I'm buying 10 of these.
Right.
You were
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
I want to
totally.
try one, and I want to see if this works.
I literally like hung out in the living room of the first one we did for Jamil, waiting to say to Jamil, "I told you so. I told you it wouldn't work." and and like after 6
As
months,
the good older sister.
because I built it for him, but I still was like, "You're crazy. You're crazy." But after 6 months of seeing these people that didn't know each other yesterday just completely live together, I was like, "Okay, I'm sold. If this could work, then this can work anywhere."
Yeah. How is the financing on the initial structure?
So for most of my investors, they buy the house on hard money, right? And then they refi it out when it's done as a communal living space. So they get a good portion of their money. I'm going to give you easy math. They buy the house for $300,000. It takes them $200,000, which is about $100 a square foot, to completely redo the inside. So now you're at $5. In order for you to refi it, you have to leave 20% in. So they leave $100 in. They pay out their hard money, and then they get the rest.
Pretty simple.
Pretty simple.
Not every lender will loan on that today.
Right.
So
but
you found
we have the lenders.
somebody-
We have the lenders, and they understand the product.
and it's just like anything. Probably once you've proven this works, people have a little bit more faith in it. So what do
Yeah.
you think about like Bobby and Jamil going and living in one of these co-livings
Oh,
for a
I would
minute?
love to see that, but it can't be for a minute. It has to be for a full week, like Sunday
It's
to
like
Sunday.
Undercover Landlord.
Right?
We've talked about this on Title Talk.
Oh, you have?
Oh yeah, yeah. Jamil wants to go live in one for at least a few weeks. So he first said a month. Undercover
I'm
Landlord.
sorry. Jamil wants to live in a communal living spot for a month.
Bob. Then he took Bobby down to like a week,
I think you guys could do a week.
and then Bobby's like not even a day.
I'll pop in and film.
I think you should like live there because that would help me. You would only be doing it for me, and I'll tell you why. You would tell me what, if anything, is missing, or what would make the experience better, right? So you'd be really like doing me a solid. You'd be doing me a solid if you could. Would you do it for me?
I would love to do you something.
Would you do it for me then? You'll move in for a week?
No, I'm not doing
I said if the three of us go do it, it's gonna be a freaking party and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So what if we took 4 rooms out of a brand new communal living spot? We all live there
It's
together.
open for negotiations.
Oh look, we got him from a no
Everybody has a price.
to it's
Well, he
open.
told Jamil hard no. He likes you more, I think.
Okay, I mean, Bobby will have to come in and film it, but I think we could do it. The 3 of us.
Yeah.
Take 3 rooms and just hang
Yeah.
out in a communal living space.
Yeah, to see what the experience is like and get to know.
Because that's the only way I'll know what am I missing.
Right, but they can't know who anybody is, right? Like
Right.
we legit have to be undercover
Right.
and like make up stories. No fancy clothes. No. Dena's shoe closet is not moving into this place.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not enough room in the whole house for your shoe closet.
Our shoe closet.
No, you win. You win. And
I don't know,
shoes, socks,
I don't
jewelry.
know.
Look at how fancy this girl is. Wow,
I'm not
look
very
at these
fancy today. I've
nails.
got nothing on, but
Beautiful.
nails look good. But yeah, I'm pretty simple today. My little Fitbit and oh my
We have
gosh, we might have
power.
power again.
AC.
Oh, the dogs are excited too.
Oh, yay.
That means it won't get that hot. Yesterday, I was in the middle of a Zoom call and I lost my power. Middle of the day, totally wild. And I'm like, well, I guess I can pivot to my iPad.
Wow.
And I sat there in the dark with my iPad, finished the call.
You're a trooper. I'd have been like, I'm out.
Pivot. It's all about the pivot.
I hate Zoom calls. Like, put your pants on. I know you don't have pants on. you should wear some pants.
I wear shoes
Be
and
respectful.
I wear shoes and pants on Zoom calls.
Right?
I
Like,
do.
but I know the people that are like literally not wearing their pants.
I remember that when COVID first started. Oh my gosh. COVID first started, people didn't know the whole camera thing on their phone. And I was on countless calls where people were making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and they didn't know their camera was on and they're in the kitchen and they're yelling at their kids and their dogs. They are not wearing pants or not wearing appropriate
shirts. Yep.
clothing.
Yep.
And I do remember several people losing their jobs because they didn't know about this whole camera situation.
Really? They lost their jobs? That's not fair.
They were naked and they were supposed to be working.
Oh no. That's hard. That's hard. And then how do you get another job? Because everybody was on Zoom, so you'd be like, yeah, I got fired because I was naked.
I mean, it's funny now, but back then it wasn't funny. Like it was like, and we would be texting each other, hey, like, does anybody know the girl that's like got the black hair that's like yelling at her children and she's not wearing pants? Like,
And the curtain doesn't match the drapes? Or is it the drapes don't match the... I don't remember how... The drapes don't match the rug.
I don't know. There was mismatching. I'm not a fan. I mean, not like Sir Mix-a-Lot. It's like mix and match.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just thinking about that. That's funny. So you're on my side to try to get title companies to...
Yeah. I'm on your side to actually figure out who the investors are that want to back these folks and see what that could look like for sure.
That would be incredible.
It would change people's lives. I mean, that's part of why we do what we do, right? It's not just because of like you like the day-to-day grind. I mean, trust me, I know you're good at the day-to-day grind, but there's a bigger why behind all of that.
It's my only reason to be here is the why.
Impact.
I think I told you that I wanted to retire like 5 months ago.
Portugal.
I said I booked tickets for my kids for a month, and I said we're going to find the street we're going to live on. That's it. I'm done. I'm not enjoying this anymore. And like a few days before I was leaving, and I lay back and I saw myself in Jamil, and we were talking to thousands of people, and we were explaining to them the importance of this type of housing. And so I called my brother. I'm like, can I come over tomorrow morning? I'll join you on your walk. And I talked to him about it, and he's like, I'm in. Let's do it. And so then I had to go home and tell my kids, hey, we're not moving. We're going on a holiday, but we're not moving to Portugal. I need to finish this. So for me, this is really, the only reason I'm doing it is because I genuinely give a shit. And I want to see these people in homes, homed and healthy, and their generations moving forward. Really, I just don't want to see any more kids in cars.
Well, they're everywhere too. They're in every neighborhood.
They're in every neighborhood. You see a car parked on the side of the road, check. There's a very good chance that there's somebody living in it.
And I mean, I saw one this morning. It was a big van, but they had covers on all of the windows. And I'm like, it just hurts my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Hurts my heart.
And I mean, that, and then I want you to think about one step further. Think about who's on Social Security. You've got the disabled and you've got the retired. Right? That's generally the person who gets Social Security.
There is another small category.
I don't know. Tell me who that would be.
Yeah, it would just be people taking advantage of the system.
Okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say none of those people exist.
They do exist.
They're only these are only disabled people, and so I went to the Social Security building like 6 days ago, and I walked in and then I actually just walked in. Nobody stopped me, and I walked around and found somebody who was behind a desk and by themselves, and I said, hey. I have these flyers for housing. And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry, we can't take those. And then I said, can I sit down? And I sat down with her and I said, listen, I just want you to read the flyer. And it's like, okay, private rooms, $250 a week, includes all your utilities and Wi-Fi. She's like, all right, you can put them up.
Because it's a solution.
Because I said, where are the people who get your, I said, they start at $1,500 and they cap out at $2,400. How are these people supposed to live at $2,400 a month?
They can't.
They can't. So what are you doing? What are we going to do
Well,
together?
imagine if they have debt.
Or they had an eviction. Or they have a cat.
Or college loans, or something,
Something.
you know?
The one thing we never really talk about too much, and I really want to emphasize this, is that the next pandemic or epidemic in America is loneliness.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think I lost more people to suicide during COVID than to actually being sick or anything related to COVID.
Right.
It was isolation. It was not having resources. It was loneliness. It was all of the things. I mean, people didn't know how to function when they had to stay home and be in their four walls. Like, I did some pretty creative things during COVID, and I made it really fun, right? So, and everything from business. I mean, we were doing yappy hours with our dogs, with our clients on Zooms, and I was, having my clients get their favorite beverage and bring their dogs. Our dogs are meeting on Zoom, and we were doing some fun stuff. And in my family, I did around the world. So, because we couldn't go anywhere and get on an airplane, every Sunday for dinner, I was like, I picked a different country, and I was like, let's pretend we're going to, Mexico, and everybody dressed up. We made, food from Mexico.
Oh my God,
I dressed
that's
the dogs
awesome.
up, and we invited.
And you all did it in your separate houses?
No, we all went to my mom's.
Yeah, see, I cheated too. I had parties at my
Yeah.
mom's house all the time.
And we would invite our neighbors and other things, and anybody that want to come, But
Yeah.
I just was like, we got to make it fun, and not everybody had. I guess the network, the community, the desire during that time to still connect,
Yeah.
and it was very sad.
Yeah.
Super sad.
And the loneliness has continued. It's been 2 years since COVID is sort of put to bed. It's 2024 now, 4 years since it began, and people are still really suffering with this element of loneliness. So to put them in a house with other people, I think it will help the mental health crisis that's plaguing America right now.
Well, we all need to connect, and if we don't, we don't stay, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't connect at your company, you don't stay. If you
Right.
don't connect in your marriage, you don't stay.
Right.
Like, if you don't connect within, your friends.
That's so interesting that you say that. That's absolutely true. If you don't connect, you leave.
You stay, but you go other places too. Like, you find connection. We're
human,
wired
yeah.
for connection, and I'd like to think we're wired for healthy connections. Sometimes we just take a different avenue, right? Where you end up connecting in non-healthy fashions. But I mean, we are really wired for healthy connection, and without it, our lives are not. They're not fulfilled. They're not satisfied.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's true. Okay.
It's like thinking about, okay, if we weren't here together in real life, I would not get all the same feels I'm getting because we're on Zoom. Like, there is something different about that dynamic. Yes, we could still make it happen. We could still entertain the audience, but they're not going to feel the energy between us the same if we're just on Zoom.
No, 100%. You're right. You're right. Anybody who believes that you can just communicate solely on your computer is... You hear that, millennials? You can't just communicate on your computer. Is it just millennials now, or is it the generation under millennials? Gen Z, guys.
ZZs? Uh-oh. Something's beeping.
No, we still have power. We're
This
good.
is the most interesting title talk when it comes to technology.
Like the house is haunted. Guys, you need connection.
You need connection.
Like, please,
Yeah.
put your phone down.
Call somebody you love today and tell them that you're thinking about them and
Better
that they
yet,
matter.
Get in the car and go visit somebody that you love today. Or go find somebody well, maybe that's the wrong thing to say.
Ooh.
Go find somebody you love today.
Title talk just got spicy.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, guys, you need to talk.
Yeah, you need to connect. You need to have healthy connection, and I think you just need to tell people that they matter on a very regular basis.
You matter.
You matter. I'm happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, me too. So
Yeah.
nice to see you. How are you feeling today?
I feel good. I
Good.
feel great. Yeah. I had an interesting week. I feel like today's almost Friday. It's almost
Isn't it
It's
Friday?
Friday Eve.
Oh, yeah, it's Friday Eve.
Thursday Eve.
It's been a long week. I was in Canada for most of the week. I just got in late last night. And it was a really interesting trip for me because I spent most of the last 20 years hating on Canada. thinking Canada had done something lousy to me because I didn't have the best situation growing up.
And your brother sends the most beautiful pictures when he's visiting.
Because Jamil has a daughter that lives there, so he has a whole
Yes.
different mindset when he goes to Canada. I went this time and I forgave Canada, and I forgave myself for being so mad at Canada for all those years. So this was a really good trip for me, but I'm exhausted from it.
You need to go home and sleep this weekend.
No, I'm in LA this weekend.
What?
I met some investors there last week, and we're going to
When you were on your family trip?
Mm-hmm.
You're always working, girl.
Yeah, we're going to reconnect this weekend, and then they're going to come to Phoenix on Monday. So I have a busy week ahead of me. I'm leaving tomorrow morning for LA.
Oh my goodness, are you packed?
I'm just going to take a suitcase that I've already packed for the last, because I went from LA and the very next day I went to Canada, and now I'm just back. So I'll just throw something together from combining those two. Yeah.
A woman on the move.
Yep. This is a big deal. So we want to get as many people as we can involved. So we're moving into a communal. Maybe we should move. move into.
No, we're not.
Come on,
Okay.
Bobby. You can bring your girlfriend.
Sure, no.
You can pretend like you don't know each other.
Hey, no.
Could you imagine if we could like film love connections in communal living?
Well, we were talking about that. Like, what if you make a love connection in a co-living?
I mean, that's like.
Well, Jamil was bringing it up. He goes, or you brought it up. You were like, what if you fall in love with somebody that like you met and you had to tell them like who you really were?
I want to, I love that idea. I don't want to pivot, but I want to know Rahima's story with her new company.
Yeah.
Banana
Can we talk?
split?
Are we ready to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the motivation behind it?
So yeah, I started a new platform called Banana Split Property Management, and that will actually help my investors fill their property with quality tenants, members, where they can where the investor is able to see who's living in that house. They have a full camera connection. They're able to see who the tenants are. They're able to see all the leases and the rents and everything that comes with it. So it's sort of a competitive platform to the one that's out there right now. This one is a little bit more of a human touch. I feel like when you, and please forgive me for saying this, Bobby, but when you give a guy a problem, he'll build an app, right? And I'm saying that this isn't changing my windshield. I'm happy to change my windshield using an app. I got a crack in my windshield. I'm happy to use an app and get it changed.
Not me. I call the same human I've called the last 20 times when I broke my windshield.
See what I mean? It's like there has to be some human connection, right?
I have called the same person the last
Right?
20 windshields that I have damaged. Yes.
Yeah, so I feel like a housing situation, there needs to be a human touch. There needs to be somebody who greets you to say, hey, welcome home. Right?
Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Well, homeownership is essentially the American dream. And I think that I love the name of the new company, by the way, because you always say that's bananas. And the first time I talked to you about co-living, you said that's bananas.
Right.
So the fact that you have a business now that is bananas
Right.
is awesome.
Yeah, well, that was part of the thing that I saw in my vision. I saw a banana split in my vision. And then I'm like, the company's going to be called Banana Split. She was like, okay, I don't know how you got that. But yeah, let's do it.
That's awesome. Woman innovator.
Well, I'm counting on you
Woman-ater.
to help me separate these houses so that we can sell the rooms individually.
I love it.
And, it's a new kind of ownership, but
But there's fractional ownership. I
Right.
mean, there's all kinds of other ownership out there. So like, I love being on the forefront of something that's super innovating.
and if there's one company that can do it for us, it's Fidelity.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Right.
There has been some wild stuff happening in the title world lately. I gotta tell you.
Tell me.
And I feel like we talk about this all the time on Title Talk, but I'm just gonna say it again. Deed fraud, title fraud, it's a real thing. I saw another article today about this lovely couple that just lost $30,000 because they wired their down payment to the wrong company. Somebody had impersonated an escrow officer on an email, and instead of following what they had been told through the entire process, they sent their funds to other place, and the emails look very similar in nature. I mean, these people are pretty crafty. Like, they're copying and pasting signatures from legitimate escrow officers, but they don't have the exact same email address. There's like one digit off. It's .co instead of .com, or the name's not totally right. Like, there's always something that you can identify, oh, this is a fraudster. But like, it's a real freaking thing. And I think the stat that I read was it was like $213 million in deed fraud.
Wow.
And then nationwide, I found another one. So from the FBI said that it's $10 billion that consumers lost in 2023 to wire fraud. 10 billion. That's money they don't see back, because it was like, whose fault is it, right? I mean, it's total fraud.
And the banks can't claw it back.
Most of the time they can't. They do their best, but these guys are so tricky. Yeah, they're tricky.
This happened to Jamil and I. One of our partners, very early on, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, lost $200,000, which was the cash to close amount. And they recovered some of it, but not all of it. And from that, I actually go to the bank, call the escrow officer, and verify the instructions. And they probably think I'm crazy, but I do it every time.
No, it's not crazy. I mean, our escrow officers call right at the beginning of the transaction, and they're like, we will not change wiring instructions. We're only sending you this once. It is encrypted, the whole spiel. But and even savvy investors or people that buy and sell a lot of properties get spoofed by this stuff all the time. So I would highly recommend, if you are purchasing property anywhere in Maricopa County, to go to Maricopa County Title Alert and register your name and your email address, because anything that you're attached to, you will get notified on if there's a change.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a good idea. Great idea.
And just be careful, because there's a lot of scammers, a lot of fraudsters out there. And I feel like, I was telling somebody this today, I was like, I wish these people would put their like negative energy into something positive, because the world would be like a whole lot better place.
Could you imagine if that would happen? Hey, you fraudsters, come
Yes.
on, take a nap. And when you wake up, be a better person.
Yes, just pour your energy that you're pouring into this negativity into something really good and make the world a better place.
Yes, the universe will reward you for that.
Yes, it'll rain down blessings. Like, I believe that. And
Speaking of raining down.
raining down blessings, it's happening outside.
It's nuts outside. We have to drive home in that.
I know. And speaking of fraudsters, I have been locked out of my Facebook, guys, so you're not going to see this on my page. And if anybody has a creative solution on how I can recover my Facebook page, I'd love it. Yeah.
Really?
Locked
You
out.
can just get locked out of your Facebook?
I have been locked out of Facebook for weeks. So if you're looking for me and I don't exist, it's not because I decided to not be your friend.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. And Facebook won't do anything about it. And I'm meta verified and have the checkbox and pay the money every month, and they will do nothing to help. It is wild. And it was not because of anything I did. It was because they found some activity on some other account that I was linked to that was doing something where there was legitimately a fraudster that was trying to impersonate some other account that I was linked to. And so because of that, anything attached to it's gone. Like, doesn't exist. And one girl told me it's going to be a year. Somebody else told me 6 months. I don't know. I don't understand it. And I've talked to Meta on the phone multiple times, and
Nothing. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But maybe somebody watching this.
Should we make another platform that
I know.
will compete against Facebook?
Oh, I don't know. I think Zuck's got the.
If you can't beat him, make a new one.
I did send a message to Mark Zuckerberg asking for help too.
You did?
I did.
Did he respond?
He has not responded yet.
Mark, come on. Put some pants on and answer your email.
I sent him an Instagram DM too. I was like, he's gonna have to read this one of these days. I was like, I need help.
I just realized
I'm
what
a fan.
an Instagram DM was like a week ago. Jim was like, hey, can you open up your Instagram? Do you see all this big number here? These are people who have messaged you.
Oh, I thought you had manager of those.
I did, and she moved on to other things. And then I tried to recuperate. I tried to recruit my kid to do it, and she's like, "Yeah, I'd rather do anything else." So, if any of you want a job, I don't
Responding
know,
to her DMs.
Respond, like I could say DM me, but then I'll never know. So Bobby says he's going to put my phone number in a link at the bottom of this, or top of this, or at the side of this. I don't know what any of that means either. But call me.
Yeah, she always answers her phone when
Yeah,
I
I
call
always
her.
answer my calls, always, and text messages. I just don't know anything else.
Hey, old school works.
I'm all about the old school.
Yeah.
I feel like the new school has some bugs in it, and old school works.
Well, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
with me
Sorry
today.
we missed you, Jamil.
We missed
it's not as fun
you.
without you.
Well, we love hanging out with each other, and we hope you got a lot of value from this, guys. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
And call me when you want to do your co-living.